Part 151. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1501. When Christine left, a small village at the foot of Xiaoxing Mountains received a letter and a large package. Comrade Director Hu, your letter, your package. Seeing Hu Ping running, Xiao Lu, who is responsible for sending and receiving letters, shouted at the top of his voice, "It's from the capital. It's from the capital." Hu Pingyuan first worked in a forest farm and was later transferred to the construction corps. After 10 years of hard work, he is now a cotter. Although it belongs to the corps, its name is a farm. As soon as he heard that it was sent from the capital, Hu Ping thought of Lu Zhang and his wife, and hurried over to sign for it and take it back to their residence. Their hometown is near the farm. Now his son, daughter-in-law and daughter live in it, and his daughter-in-law Ma Quixia lives with him in the farm. Did Comrade Lu Jiang's family send us something again? The things we prepared for them haven't been sent out yet. There has been no shortage of food these years, but the food sent by the Lu family in the early years has solved their urgent needs. They have been in contact with them all these years, and they can receive some rare goods every year. We have never met in person, but our feelings are very deep. Hu Ping opened the letter. Lu Zhang is very busy. Comrade Kingxiu sent it? He said that he made a foreign friend and got a lot of overseas remittance coupons. He asked if we needed anything. If we needed anything, he wrote to her and bought it for let's send it. Now I bought some candies and cakes for us, a pile of fabric, and a large piece of red wool imported from Australia to make a coat for our daughter when she gets married. Ma Quixia patted her thigh and said, I have to thank her properly. She was so thoughtful and the timing of sending it is good. Our daughter will get married on the 24th of the 12th lunar month, less than a month ago. Let me see what is imported first. Wool. When they opened the package and took a look, the couple were shocked. It's so pretty, so red, and so soft to the touch. Our daughter will definitely like it. Ma Quixia touched it twice with her rough fingers and quickly took it back. This material is not cheap, I'm so grateful. Although they don't have imported wool here, they have seen domestic wool, which is very expensive. It's expensive, and the color is either black, gray, or navy blue, which is not as bright as this one. Wear red or green to look good when getting married, and green is a green military uniform. Hu Ping didn't remember the benefits of sending ginseng or game to the Lu family and mink skins. He only remembered the benefits to his family. He thought for a moment and said, you and I will go home and pack up later, and send them the dried game we prepared. I heard that it is not easy to eat meat in the city, unlike us who live in mountains and rivers. In addition, I will send another 100 yuan to Comrade Kingxiu. Please buy a Shanghai brand watch for our daughter, and add it to my son-in-law's family. The sewing machine, bicycle, and radio I bought all work together after 3 turns. Hu Ping's family is in good condition, and his in-laws are not bad either, but it's hard to get a 3-turn, 1-ring ticket. After working hard for half a year, the other party only bought a sewing machine and an assembled radio and bicycle that didn't require tickets. There was no sign of a watch ticket. Ma Quixia hummed, took out a pack of candies and a pack of preserves from the package, and rewrapped the rest very carefully. We are divided into 2 groups. You take the package and go home. I will go to my parents' house. My brothers, and nephews secretly got a lot of good things from the deep mountains and old forests. The former even shot a silly roe deer and several snow rabbit. I want some back and send them over. Lu Zhang and his wife have sent them things for so many years, and many of their brothers have benefited from it. Ma Quixia said it righteously. Of course, she would give money and would not take advantage of her brothers. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1502. Ma Quixia has 4 elder brothers and 1 younger brother. The 5 brothers have a total of 23 nephews. The eldest nephew is in his 30s, the oldest grandnephew is 15 years old, and the youngest nephew is 16 years old this year and is in school. Can be said to be a large family with a large number of people. As the only aunt in the family, her status in her natal family is self-evident. Her brothers are kind, honest and capable people, and her nephews respect her very much. Several of her nephews rely on her and Hu Ping's financial support to go to school. Even if there is occasional discord between her aunt and sister-in-law, it is not a big deal to her. Ma Quixia was calculating how much game and mountain products she could buy with the money in her pocket, and she felt something strange as soon as she entered her eldest brother's house. The whole family was in a state of sadness. Xioxia is here? Come and sit on the kong yourself. Don't ask me to greet you. Boss Ma, who was sitting cross-legged on the kong and smoking, moved his butt to the side, his bronze face full of grooves, full of bitterness. Brother, what happened at home? Why didn't anyone tell me? Ma Quixia asked. Sister-in-law Ma was sitting on the kong, wiping her tears. Seeing Ma Quixia was like seeing a savior. His aunt, see if your uncle can find someone to help with this matter. Ma Quixia was anxious. What is going on? Sister-in-law, tell me. It's Xiao Xuanzi's sister-in-law. Ma choked up. Yesterday your eldest brother was having dinner at the party secretary's house, and little Xuanzi was playing with him. I don't know what happened, but he got into a fight with the party secretary's grandson Taizu. It's not a big deal for children to fight. But these two children knocked over the kong table, and the kerosene lamp on the kong table fell over and fell on a wool blanket, burning a large piece. Ma Quixia was stunned. It's just burning a wool blanket, how can it be such a big deal? It makes you all look sad. Sister-in-law Ma couldn't help but said, that's a woolen blanket bought in the capital. I bought it in a department store. His new son-in-law bought it for his daughter Ma Xiaoling. It was just delivered yesterday and he took it with him as a dowry when he went out. His wife, the branch secretary's wife, he took it out to show off and put it on the kong. Who knew that these two boys were so naughty that they caused such a big disaster? Ma Xiaoling sat on the ground and cried loudly. We had to pay for it. We have the same money now, but we don't. Several families also came out, but they couldn't buy the same wool blanket. The boss and his wife went to the city and found that we don't have such products here. Boss Ma knocked the cigarette pouch in his hand against the edge of the kong, knocking off the ash. Xioxia, Ma Xiaoling's wedding is scheduled for the 24th of the 12th lunar month, which is the same day as our Xiaoman. Xiaoman's father has many friends, and she, my aunt, is married to a cotter who is a soldier. Please ask them if they can ask someone to buy the same woolen blanket. The money will be paid by our family. Ma Quixia immediately thought of Feng Qingxiu. She said in the letter that the friendship store has all kinds of products, including the overseas remittance coupons. She asked them what they needed. They wanted to buy a watch for their daughter before, so they should be able to buy it. To a wool blanket? Brother, sister-in-law, Hu Ping really has such a friend. He is in the capital now. He should be able to buy the wool blanket you mentioned. The eyes of Boss Ma and sister-in-law Ma immediately burst out with hope. Sister-in-law Ma directly pulled her and asked, his aunt, is it true? Really? Money is not a problem, just buy us a wool blanket. Your eldest brother, I have been doing my job honestly all my life, and I don't want to call the party secretary's wife by name every day because of this when I'm old. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1503. Ma Quixia nodded and said, Sister-in-law, I will go home in a while. When I send them letters and things, I will leave this matter to her. Isn't Xiaoman going out soon? Her father and I were about to leave this matter to this friend. I'm buying a Shanghai watch. By the way, I'll pack up all the wild game you can't eat and send it to me. I'll give you the money at the market price. It's not easy for people in the city to eat meat. There's only one person in the capital every month. The supply of only 4 taels of meat is not even enough to fill our teeth. What kind of money are you asking for? How polite are you to ask for money, as long as it can help them buy woolen blankets that need to be compensated for others? Those wild game and wild products will be included in the thank you gift. After Mrs. Ma said this, she went to pack up and packed up most of the sacks. Boss Ma also took out a roll of unity. Ma Quixia said, "What does the wool blanket look like? Bring it and I will send it to King Xue. Please buy it according to the shape." Mrs. Ma immediately took out the wool blanket with several big holes in it. The wool blanket was folded at the time, and a flame fell on it and burned a large piece, causing 4 holes. The largest hole was as big as the mouth of a bowl. Ma Quixia touched it and muttered, "This blanket feels worse than the material King Xue gave Xiaoman to make a coat." "What?" Mrs. Ma's eyes flashed with confusion. Ma Quixia smiled and said, "This friend we asked, the daughter-in-law of Comrade Hu Ping, gave us a piece of wool. It was bright red and imported. It was not cheap at first glance. He said that Xiaoman was of marriage age and happened to find something for sale. So we bought it in advance to make Xiaoman's wedding coat, and then asked Xiaoman to go to the city to find a tailor to make it herself, and use horn buttons to prevent us from damaging the material. Of course we can't be stingy, after all, they are so generous. I have a request from someone, so I came to ask you to send me some wild game." After hearing this, Mrs. Ma hurriedly said, "Listen to what you said, it must be the best material. Xiaoman must be the most handsome new wife in the house. We are just waiting to see Xiaoman's new coat." Boss Ma said, "Do your friends want wild game?" "Yes, brother, the supply of food and non-staple food is limited in the city. Comrade Hu Ping's family is not short of money. He is of high rank and has many relatives and friends. Don't look at the things that my sister-in-law has packed up. It may not be so much when they arrive at their house. That's enough. Our family has lived here for hundreds of years. We all know who has the stock. Your nephew also goes into the mountains to hunt in groups. They all know how much is divided. Ask his uncle to ask his comrades. Do you need it? If so, we can collect some privately and send them to them," Malayadao said. "Although there is a black market in the city, how dangerous is the black market? If you are caught, you will have to go to labor camp, and the whole family will be embarrassed. Therefore, many villagers do not dare to sell on the black market when they are extremely short of money, let alone sell to the supply and marketing cooperative, because it is collectively owned. You can sell some of your own vegetables, eggs and the like. Ma Quixia has experience in this matter. After all, the Lu family has asked them to buy Lashan ginseng, and her parents' family has more supplies than her husband's family. Okay, brother, their family will definitely need it. Don't worry about money, what they will give is higher than the market price. Boss Ma went out for a trip, and within half a day, his uncle, who was well connected and short of money, came with a basket. Ma Quixia had learned how to read and calculate accounts from Hu Ping and her children. She listed them one by one on the list and warned, "I didn't bring any money today. I will send it to you tomorrow. It won't cost you a penny. Don't say it's for sale. If someone asks, I just said that our family wanted it and wanted to send some New Year's goods to our comrades in Hu Ping, but I didn't give you any money." Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1504. Everyone knew why they said that, and nodded. "Don't worry, Xioxia, we all know how powerful it is." Ma Quixia smiled and said, Uncle, if you have any good things in your hands, don't forget me." The daughter-in-law of Hu Ping's comrade in arms is a doctor and will not refuse all kinds of medicinal materials. This is what Feng Qingxiu ordered. As long as he gets good ginseng, Hu Ping will basically send it to her. As the person next to her, Ma Quixia knew everything. After hearing this, Boss Ma suddenly remembered that his sister and brother-in-law asked him to find the old wild ginseng. Over the years, as long as he knew who had ginseng in his hands, he would come to ask if he was willing to sell it, and then pull strings from them. Many connections were made at that time. Down. An old uncle from the Ma Quixia tribe came back after leaving. He called Ma Quixia aside and whispered, "Xioxia, I have some old wild ginseng and some mink skins in my hand. Can you give me some? I want to find a way to sell this thing. I have a young son who is not married, and I have 2 grandsons waiting to get married. I am almost worried about this." Ma Quixia smiled and said, "You have to show it to me first and I'll estimate the price. We are honest people and we don't want to coax anyone." The old man immediately opened the cloth on the basket. Ma Quixia took a closer look and said, "Oh, they are all good things. Their quality is not as good as the 2 ginseng she bought for 300 yuan, but these 4 ginseng sticks also cost several hundred yuan. She growing up in the Northeast, I naturally know the goods, not to mention the 4 well-tanned mink skins and 2 fox skins, which are in perfect condition and the fur is particularly shiny." "Uncle, how much do you want?" Ma Quixia was also thoughtful. The Lu family is good to their family, so they naturally think about the Lu family. As long as the other party's demands are not excessive, they can directly conclude the deal. The old man gritted his teeth and said, 300 yuan, a total of 300 yuan. If you give me 300 yuan, I will take it all. I will not reveal a word to others. I got these things myself. Only you, old man, auntie knows." "Deal," Ma Quixia said neatly, "I will send the money tomorrow, and I will give it to you privately." "Okay, you take it first." The old man knew very well what kind of person Ma Quixia was, and he didn't worry about not paying her for taking things. Ma Quixia smiled and said, "That won't work, uncle. Those wild game and mountain products cost more than a dozen yuan or a few yuan less. I just took it. Someone else testified, kept the account, and will give you the money tomorrow. You guys, it's worth 300 yuan. If I take it away and don't give you any money, you won't even have a place to cry. Tomorrow, I'll come over and we'll pay and deliver." The old uncle heard this and said, "Okay, okay, you are such a good girl." Ma Quixia collected 2 sacks of game and mountain products, together with another sack from several brothers' homes, and a wool blanket. They couldn't get it at all. Boss Ma quickly sent some of his sons to help deliver it. After arriving home, after her nephew left, Ma Quixia took Hu Ping and chatted for a long time. "There are too many things. It would be too eye-catching for us to send them as a family. Send them separately. I will send a sack, you send a sack, and then ask several children to send them separately. Xiaoman will have to go to the city to make coats tomorrow. Do you want her to send one too, and we'll pay for it?" Hu Ping arranged it in an orderly manner. "As for the ginseng and mink skins, I'll take whatever you get." Hu Ping had a good relationship with the Lu Zhang family. The money he planned to buy for the watch and the money his brother-in-law spent for buying a woolen blanket were not remitted. He only made it clear in the letter that it was used to buy ginseng, deer antler, and mink skins. Later, someone privately found them and sold some. Give them deer antler and deer whip. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1505. The Northeast is relatively close to the capital. 5 or 6 days later, Feng Qingxiu received the remittance order for a package and letter from Hu Ping. Shanghai brand watches and wool blankets are not difficult to get. The wool blanket is not expensive and is also sold in Yuyi store. Feng Qingxiu took the overseas remittance coupons and money to Lu Tianzi to run errands and bought them back in one trip. Feng Qingxiu he also asked his nephew to bring a better quality wool blanket and a purple corduroy quilt to Hu Xiaoman as wedding gifts. Feng Qingxiu smiled happily as she received the next shipment of game and mountain products under different names one after another. They are all good stuff and cannot be bought in the market. According to the bills listed in Hu Ping's letter, Feng Qingxiu added 100 yuan to the general ledger and sent it over, asking him to give the fellow villagers more money so that they could trade in the long term. You respect me and I respect you, only the relationships between people can last forever. The reason why I gave Hu Xiaoman such an expensive gift was because the shipping cost didn't even appear on the bill. After getting these wild game products, share them with relatives and friends in the capital, keep some for yourself, and send some to comrades and friends from all sides, and add things in the space in between. No one is left behind, and no one can see anything wrong. The place. After these things have been dealt with, it is almost February. It is the second month of the Gregorian calendar, the 12th lunar month of the lunar calendar, and the spring festival is just around the corner. The marriage report of Guancheng and Zhong Wengziu finally passed the review. The two held a simple wedding ceremony under the auspices of the military leaders. It was still a collective wedding. After receiving the marriage certificate, they each asked for marriage leave and had a lively wedding at the Lu family. After having a meal, the two of them took the gifts prepared by the Lu family and themselves and prepared to go south to meet Jin Dingxiang, his wife, and Jin Ruoku. The wedding of the two was extremely simple. It was settled in one ceremony. The Lu family's meals were not prepared in advance, which almost depressed Feng Qingxiu to death. Lu Tianjun and Zhang Xiaoyu got married, and at least the elders of both parties came forward. However, most weddings in the city are held this way. There is no comparison, and it seems to others to be common sense. Feng Qingxiu immediately asked Lu Tianzi and Guan Yu to deliver the bedding he had prepared for the young couple to their residence in Guancheng. He had not wasted his time in the capital. He was now a cotter of a machinery factory and was assigned a 30-square-meter house. The bright bedding, pillows, towel quilts, wool blankets, etc. were placed on the bed, and the neighbors were almost envious. These days, if you can make such complete preparations, your family must be in good condition. After locking the door, on the way to the train station, Guancheng said to Zhong Wengziu privately, "It's not that I don't want to give you a grand wedding, but I don't want my uncle and aunt to spend too much money. They have given us enough, and God has given me so much. Wan and Xiaoyu's wedding is just as simple. Don't worry, when things get better in the future, and the teacher's reputation is restored, we can have another big one. You don't need to explain to me. I understand everything and don't feel wronged. This is how everyone came. Our background is not good. It is better to be simple and impeccable. I only hope that Grandpa will restore his reputation as soon as possible. There is no need to hold a replacement wedding. Thank you for your understanding, Comrade Wengziu." With the departure of the young couple, the student vacation has begun, and Capital University is no exception. However, Feng Qingxiu is not at home every day, so she has to continue studying. Today she goes to Guo Ming's house, and tomorrow she goes to Professor Xie's house. Tian appeared at Professor Ma and Professor Jin's house, and kept going around. Sometimes he brought his children with him, and he became familiar with the old man. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1506. Zibao is young, but his learning talent is better than Feng Qingxiu's, and his memory is excellent, just like a piece of rough jade that can be easily carved with precision. Several old professors in the foreign language department can't wait to tie Zibao to them and teach them with all their money. After finally escaping from the old professor's house, Zibao patted his chest. "Mom, don't take me with you when you come again tomorrow. I'm afraid I won't be able to leave at night." The warm eyes were too scary. Feng Qingxiu couldn't help but smile. She had brought the triplets and Fu Bao to visit the old professors before, but 11 Bao was still the most popular. Could it be that he was really lucky enough to be loved by everyone? Zibao raised his face and said, "Mom, did you hear what I said?" "I heard it. If I don't come to Professor Ma's house tomorrow, we'll go to Professor Xie's place. I've encountered some problems with my medical paper." Zibao shook his head. "I won't go to Grandpa Xie's house either. Grandpa and I will write big characters at home." "Okay." Feng Qingxiu was completely obedient to her son, who was about to celebrate his 10th birthday. The new year turned around and it was April without realizing it. Zibao's birthday was still a month and a few days away, and Zhang Xiaoyu gave birth first. When the delivery date was approaching, Zhang Xiaoyu asked for maternity leave from the army. She originally wanted to live in her natal home, which was close to Lu Tianjun's army, but Feng Qingxiu felt it was inappropriate. A married daughter would be confinement at her natal home, and outsiders would gossip. So he and Lu Tianzi took her to their home. Anyway, there were a lot of rooms in the house, and the others could fit in there if they squeezed in. Moreover, there was a light wind and snow, which made Zhang Xiaoyu's face red. Zhang Xiaoyu's brother and sister-in-law came twice. They saw that Zhang Xiaoyu was living a happy life. Each time, they came with big and small packages, which was very satisfying. Leave satisfied. Feng Qingxiu and Wang Quilin prepared the maternity package very early, and Zhang Xiaoyu was sent to the hospital as soon as she started on the 7th day after returning home. The labor took a little longer. "I had labor pains the day before and gave birth early the next morning, but it went smoothly. He's a big fat boy," the doctor from the obstetrics and gynecology department of Capital Hospital laughed. "He weighs 7 pounds or 2. Mother and child are safe." Feng Qingxiu took a few days off and said hurriedly, "Thank you, Dr. Chang." She and Wang Quilin entered the delivery room first. Father Lu, who stayed outside to take care of his younger son's 5 children, suddenly beamed. This was the 4th-generation great-grandson of the Lu family, and the eldest grandson of the eldest son, representing the endless incense of the Lu family. "Au is making millet porridge and Crucian carp soup at home. I'll bring it home for my sister-in-law to eat." Lu Tianzi jumped up. The baby crying loudly was his eldest nephew. Father Lu waved his hand, "Go quickly, I'll go home after a while." When the inside was packed, he had to see his first great-grandchild. Soon he got his wish. Feng Qingxiu poked her head out and said, "Dad, come in and take a look at Xiao Yueshan's fat boy. His features and eyes are very similar to those of 11 Bao when he was a child. Come here, like Zibao. Isn't he just like Lu Tianjun?" Father Lu held his little great-grandson in his arms and smiled so hard that he couldn't see his eyesight. As soon as he finished telling Zhang Xiaoyu what he had done so hard for her, Zibao and his siblings gathered around to take a look. "Grandpa, lower it, show us your little one nephew, we are all uncles and aunts." Okay, Father Lu bent down. Zhang Xiaoyu is strong, and she didn't suffer any loss during pregnancy, which made her fat. However, she also has plenty of blood and energy. She is still in high spirits after giving birth. "What a stinky brat," Fu Bao said. "That's right. Grandpa, let's give the child a name and ask the hospital to issue a birth certificate so we can buy milk powder." 11, Lu 11. When he was born, the sun happened to appear and the sun was shining brightly. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1507. After knowing which 11 Lu 11 was, Feng Qingxiu couldn't help but said, Xiao 11 will definitely blame his great-grandfather when he grows up in the future. Why? Zhang Xiaoyu asked while drinking the brown sugar and millet porridge sent by Lu Tianzi. Feng Qingxiu smiled and said, there are so many strokes. Think about it, the character 11 is complicated and difficult to write. Others are called Lu Yi, and he is called Lu 11. How many more strokes do you think he has to write than others? Children in junior high school are afraid they don't even recognize the word 11. Zhang Xiaoyu thought about it carefully and suddenly laughed, it's true. Although Feng Qingxiu was a little unfounded and Zhang Xiaoyu didn't care about his son's name at all, Father Lu felt sorry for his great-grandson and was worried that when he grew up, he would really complain that the name he gave him was too complicated. He stared at his great-grandson's red face. After thinking for a moment, he said, then let's call him Lu Chen. Chen is the word Chen 11, and Chen is easier to write than 11. Lu Chen? Lu Chen, Chen, this is a good name, Zhang Xiaoyu said, my nickname is Chen, simple and clear. A long time later, Lu Chen, a child, went to school and learned to read, and finally could write his own name crookedly. He was extremely grateful to his second grandmother for her generous words when he was born and did not let him become Lu 11. This is something for later, let's not mention it for now. Zhang Xiaoyu's birth went smoothly and she was discharged from the hospital and went home the same day. In April, although the nights are a bit chilly, the days are neither cold nor hot, making it a good time for confinement. Zhang Xiaoyu lived a comfortable life and ate well, but she had no milk. Even pig's trotter soup, crucian carp soup, and lufa soup were of no use. She could only give Lu Chen milk powder. Fortunately, she and Lu Tianjun received double wages, so they could fully support her. Get a fat son. Lu Tianjun was on a mission a few days ago. Zhang Yun was not dissatisfied with his inability to accompany his daughter. On the contrary, after learning that his daughter had given birth, he worked hard for 2 days and rushed over by car on the third day to prepare his daughter-in-law. The car broke down halfway, and it took until the afternoon to arrive at Lu's house. The old man was so angry that his nose almost became crooked. The cars equipped for many cotters look great, but in fact they break down every 3 days, and everyone is used to it. Although Feng Qingxiu was lucky enough to have never encountered such a situation, I heard someone say that once, several high-level cotters from the Zishan compound went to a meeting. As a result, 4 cars were traveling, and 3 of them broke down. In the end, this was the end of the road. I drove to pick someone up, a truck picked me up. Zhang Xiaoyu said with a smile, Dad, don't be angry, come and see your grandson Lu Chen. Hey, my eldest grandson. My first grandson, you have to call me Grandpa. Zhang Yun happily held Lu Chen in his arms. He looked so handsome. He was so handsome that he was unrivaled in the world. He felt fiercely in his heart. Breathed a sigh of relief. It's not that Zhang Yun favors boys over girls and thinks that her daughter will be worthy of the Lu family if she gives birth to a boy, but Zhang Xiaoyu was reminded by Feng Qingxiu and came back to tell Zhang Yun. Zhang Yun took her to Guoming to get a pulse. She was prescribed a prescription and said that she would be cured if she took good care of her, so that there would be no psychological burden. However, she told Zhang Yun in private that Zhang Xiaoyu would not be able to get pregnant easily even if she took good care of her. Zhang Yun told Lu Tianjun about this before Lu Tianjun and Zhang Xiaoyu got married, that is, after Lu Zhang and his wife came to the house. After Lu Tianjun heard this, he said at that time that he was interested in Zhang Xiaoyu, not whether she could have children. Anyway, he had several younger brothers, so he didn't have to worry about the Lu family having no heirs. After joining the army and hearing countless stories about our ancestors, is there anything you can't ignore? Why is Zhang Yun so satisfied with Lu Tianjun? This is one of the reasons. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1508. The grandchildren have all grown up. Regarding this little and soft grandson, Jong-un couldn't help but think of his daughter when she was just born. When he was about to kiss his grandson, the hand holding his grandson's butt suddenly felt warm. The urine stain slowly appeared on the diaper, and everyone could see it clearly under the light of the electric light. "Chen Chen peed," Lu Erxian pointed at the diaper and shouted. Lu Chen kicked his legs and cried. "Chen Chen must be hungry. It's been an hour or two since the last time he had milk." Wan Quilin quickly rushed out the milk powder and brought it over. She first changed his diaper and then held him to feed him milk powder. The little guy drank a lot, energetic. Lu Erxian's eyes widened and he put his hands on his hips and said, "My milk bottle." Although he hadn't drank milk powder for a long time, he recognized the duckbill-shaped glass milk bottle. "It's not yours, it's a new milk bottle that your brother Tianjun bought for Chen Chen." Feng Qingxiu came in with a teapot and poured tea for Jong-un. "Brother Zhang, how many days of leave have you taken now?" After Lu Tianjun and Zhang Xiaoyu got married, Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu changed their tune according to Zhang Yun's request. Zhang Yun stretched out a hand and turned it over. "I asked for 10 days of leave in total. I will stay with you temporarily. Don't kick me out. My old man hasn't taken a leave in several years. Now that my daughter has a baby, I will take care of her. How dare the army not approve my leave? There is no particularly important military situation recently. By the way, why didn't I see Fu Bao and the triplets?" Feng Qingxiu pursed her lips and smiled. "Fu Bao has gone to school and will go directly to the first grade." "Going to school?" "Yes, it's time to go to school. Fu Bao is 8 years old this year." Fu Bao was born in October 1964, and this year is already April 1972. Zhang Yun saw Zibao's figure and said, "Zibao, why didn't you go to school?" Zibao opened his mouth and said, "I go to school, in my hometown." "You are here," Zhang Yun said. What he meant was very clear. Feng Qingxiu explained with a smile, "Zibao has been studying with the old men and women at home since he was a child. He has learned a lot of knowledge. He goes to school just to show his name. Apart from being promoted from primary school to junior high school and junior high school, he doesn't usually take exams anyway. In fact, as soon as spring begins, my father wants to take Zibao and his 2 brothers back to his hometown. The family will be busy at this time." Because Zhang Xiaoyu was about to give birth, Lu's father changed his itinerary temporarily, so there was no need to tell Zhang Yun this. She didn't say anything, but Zhang Yun guessed it and hurriedly said to Lu's father, "Having a baby is not a big deal. Xiaoyu is not that delicate. Uncle, don't delay the family's farming. Food is the most important thing for people, no matter in the city or in the country, everyone but they all look forward to a good harvest every year. Urban residents eat commercial grain, but commercial grain is grown by farmers, and whether the harvest is good or not depends on the quantity and quality of commercial grain." Father Lu responded sternly, "In-laws, crops are important and related to the lives of the people, but Xiaoyu is equally important to our family. Giving birth to a child is a journey of life and death. How can we take it lightly? Xiaoyu is born. Children and confinement are important matters, but Tianjun, the husband and father, is not here, and I feel guilty. It is the bounden duty of soldiers to obey orders. Tianjun and Xiaoyu are soldiers. They have realized this a long time ago. Uncle, don't say that." Zhang Yun was very satisfied with Lu Tianwan. Xiaoyu gave birth to a baby in confinement, and Tianjun couldn't help. Being busy, performing tasks is the most important thing. Lu Erxian interjected, "You can wash Chen Chen's ring. My eldest brother said that Dad often washes it for me." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1509. Zibao corrected, Daddy has washed our diapers, not just for you. Your face is not that big. Oh. Dad works so hard. He goes to work every day to make money. Lu Erxian held his face in his hands. The little fat man's eyes were rolling and he looked very lovable. Zhang Yun was in a happy mood and waved to Lu Erxian, you also know that your father earns money at work? Who spends the money? Is it for Erxian? Lu Erxian shook his head and sighed like an adult, I spent it all on my mother and never gave it to me. My father is partial. Fu Bao was picked up by Lu Tianzi after school. He heard these words as soon as he stepped through the door. He couldn't help but said angrily, Er Xiong, if you are ignorant, don't talk nonsense. Mom spends money to buy things for our whole family. I bought clothes, shoes, food, vegetables, fruits, and toys for you. You are the one who eats the most in the whole family. You also say that Dad is partial, so be careful. I tell Dad. Lu Erxian pinched his upper and lower lips with 2 fingers to make a seal. Fu Bao then politely said hello to Zhang Yun, and then said to Feng Qingxiu, Mom, what should we have for dinner? Is there anything you need my help with? I have learned how to wash clothes. Feng Qingxiu smiled and said, you go in the house and do your homework. If there is no homework, just write and draw. Mom will call you when she needs you. Okay, Mom, you must call me, don't tire yourself out alone. Fu Bao is becoming more and more sensible now. Zhang Yun said with envy, these children are really well taught. Even if Lu Erxian is a little naughty, he is still much better than many children in the compound. He is just right and overbearing and will not make people have any annoying thoughts. Brother, we live here. Just don't think they are too noisy. Feng Qingxiu was very aware of Xiong's son's virtues and was jumping up and down every day. No, it's fun, I just like the excitement. So, under the guise of taking care of his daughter, Zhang Yun played endlessly with the triplets. Zhang Xiaoyu, mother and son were safe, and Father Lu couldn't wait to see his son and eldest grandson again, so he boarded the train home with brothers Zibao, Lu Tianzi, and Guan Yu, arriving with a lot of things and leaving with a lot of things. Feng Qingxiu had a lot of overseas remittance coupons in her hand, which would expire at the end of the year and would be wasted if they were not used, but she kept buying things for them. Recently, Feng Qingxiu had to stop because she had spent too much money. Lu Tianwan and Guan Cheng got married and started businesses one after another. Zhang Xiaoyu now gave birth to another child. Feng Qingxiu no longer collected their wages. Even the wages collected previously were basically spent on them or their younger brother. Before they left, they were given various gifts. Bought a watch. Relative to wages, industrial products and imported goods are very expensive and can be called luxuries. Most people cannot afford them. Feng Qingxiu has been buying a lot of industrial products and imported goods recently, often costing dozens to hundreds or hundreds. He also purchased a lot of game, mountain products, medicinal materials, and furs from Huping, all in bulk. Lu Jiang's salary is handed over to her on time every month and she distributes it. Even if he doesn't come, he can still remit money. He has been very busy recently. Lu Tianjun came back in late April, and Lu Jiang was nowhere to be seen. Not long after May, the appointment letter came out and Lu Jiang was transferred to the army stationed in Wuchen. This unit belongs to the capital military district. Although it is not as famous as the Long Live Army, it is responsible for guarding the capital and should not be underestimated. Lu Jiang is in a flat position, but he is still the commander of the army. 12 chapters were updated today. Although they were updated separately, I will start updating them on the 19th and 20th because I am really busy on the 17th and 18th chapters. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1510. Wuchen still belongs to Hebei province and is located to the northwest of the capital. The distance from the capital is about the same as the distance between Beizhu and the capital. Because Feng Qingxiu was in the middle of her studies, she didn't take her children with her immediately. Instead, she sent a telegram to her hometown to inform her family of the news, asking them not to use their previous contact address with Lu Zhang. Zhang Xiaoyu was out of confinement at this time and was taken to the army compound by Zhang Yun. Zhang Yun already has a nanny at home, and Zhang Yun is followed by guards when he comes in and out, so he can take good care of the child. This is what the father and daughter have planned for a long time. When Zhang Xiaoyu returns to the army after her maternity leave, she and Lu Tianjun can also come back often. Look after baby. Lu Chen drank milk powder, and Zhang Xiaoyu didn't have to come back to nurse during the day. Although the children of the Lu family should live in the Lu family, Feng Qingxiu is not Zhang Xiaoyu's biological mother-in-law. She has to go to school and has several children who need her care. She is too busy to take care of herself. Zhang Xiaoyu will not take it for granted. She asked Feng Qingxiu to raise a child for her husband and wife. She felt that whoever gave birth to the child should raise it, instead of forcing her responsibilities onto her elders. Other dual-income families can raise their children well, and so can they. After Zhang Xiaoyu and her son left, Wang Quilin fired the temporary nanny. During the day, Feng Qingxiu and her daughter went to school. She only had to take care of the triplets. Washing clothes and cooking were all trivial matters for her. Son. When Chen Swiniang came to visit, she found Dun Dun and Lu Erxian playing in the mud in the yard, while Zhuang was sitting under the pomegranate tree reading a little book. In fact, it was Lu Erxian who played with Dun Dun and made a crooked tank and cannon. Dun Dun is such a good brother, the conduct of the 5 children is impeccable. If we talk about kindness and kindness, Dun Dun should be the first. Wang Quilin walked out of the kitchen when she heard the sound. She tied an apron around her waist and rubbed her wet hands on the apron. Aren't you going to work today? Xiaoxiu and Fu Bao went to school early in the morning. Chen Swiniang smiled and said, I have gone through the retirement procedures and can come and play with you every day. Wang Quilin was stunned for a moment after hearing this, and then thought that Chen Swiniang was already over 50 this year, and couldn't help but said, time flies so fast, and before we know it, we are all old. Yes, time is not forgiving. Chen Swiniang felt the same way. Just as Wang Quilin was about to say something, the security guard of Lu Shui's house knocked on the door between the two houses. Is Comrade Qingxiu at home? If not, Comrade Quilin will answer the phone. She is from Huihei City. Wang Quilin didn't have time to ask who made the call and entrusted Chen Swiniang to take care of the child. She hurriedly followed. Telephone? Grandpa? Big brother, Lu Erxian jumped up, ignoring his dirty muddy hands, and shouted after him, Grandma, wait for me, I want to talk to Grandpa, I want to talk to Big brother. Wang Quilin stood still and waited for him for a while, then took him with her. Lu Shui was chatting with the other party in the room. When he saw Wang Quilin, he smiled and said, Comrade Quilin is here, you two chat, I will take Er Xiong to wash his hands. Er Xiong, let's go, Grandpa will get you some fruit to eat. Lu Erxian gave up the call without hesitation. The biggest reason was that he knew from Lu Shui's words that the caller was Chen Baoqiu. Wang Quilin shook her head and took the microphone handed over by Lu Shui. Hey, Baoqiu, why are you looking for Xiaoxiu? It's a good thing. Chen Baoqiu's smiling voice sounded from the other end.